Hey everybody, it's Kathy Boyle, president of Chapin Hill Advisors. So my company offers consulting services to business owners, families, family offices, small and large businesses. A lot of what we do is focus on the succession of a family business and whether or not it can be transitioned to the next generation. And doing that is fraught with all kinds of issues, and we often need the help of experts. So we've built a circle of influence, which is a circle of trusted experts in a wide variety of fields and services whom we have used or someone else we know and trust has used. So today I want to introduce you to Susan Vogel, who runs SB Vogel Consulting. So Susan, how are you today? And tell me a little bit about Susan Vogel Consulting and what do you do?
Hey, Kathy, I'm great. So my specialization is getting people unstuck and helping individuals, teams, or entire organizations figure out how to implement difficult change. So I have a process that's brain-based and that really understands the brain science of change to make it much simpler for people to execute on tough goals.
Okay, so you're a coach of sorts. So there's lots and
Mhm.
lots of coaches. So what is this unique process without giving us away the inside of the
Sure.
recipe? But what is it that makes it unique? Why does it work when others might not?
Sure. So basically, it's both coaching and consulting because I have a very broad and deep business background. And then I add on to that change management, understanding, and a very unique coaching process. So again, it's based on brain science. And as human beings, we're wired not to want to change. So often the implementation of goals is get stuck in the human being part. And so understanding the steps that our brains need to go through to learn different ways of doing things, maybe to make different decisions, maybe to handle conflict in a better way, is what finally gets people moving and able to move forward.
Okay. So I guess one place where we might see this is very often the patriarch of a firm or
Mhm.
matriarch is
Yes.
somewhat resistant to the children taking over, right? They don't want to leave their firm. They don't want to go play golf with Seymour and Harry forever. Or they think the kids may not be ready or the kids ever ready. So in a situation like that, how might you use your process?
That's a great use of this process, Kathy, because often these folks can literally be what we call uncoachable. There's a definition of that. And so we need to tap into via a diagnostic what's really going on. What are they worried about? What are the fears? And often the other thing is to redefine roles and responsibilities in a way that they can accept. So when you've always been in charge, giving up is difficult, and often it's defining the role in another way that adds value. Perhaps it's teaching, right? Teaching the family how to do it. The
Mhm.
other piece is that when you have a dysfunctional behavior, for example, conflict avoidance. So now maybe you've grown up in a family where that's the case, but you're also working with people now, your family members who avoid conflict. There's no modeling of it. So often there's some new skill sets that need to be imparted to every member of the decision making family unit so that they can apply those new skills and move themselves forward.
So you can work with just the patriarch, or you can
Mhm.
work with the entire group of family and non-family, whomever is key to the decision-making process. Is that how it might work?
Absolutely. So in this circumstance, you always want to start at the top, right? And by changing their mindset, their behaviors, perhaps the way they're making decisions, helping them to learn to be more collaborative, automatically is going to trickle down some new behaviors. Other members of the decision-making team or the family might start acting differently as well. But you can also continue that work then and trickle it down. So if you set some joint goals for that business around growth and maybe handing over the reins, each level, each member might have to do things a little differently. And if necessary, that can be identified per person versus some blanket approach or one size fits all.
Okay, so how long might this process take? I mean, I
Mhm.
recognize it would vary with each situation, but
Sure.
is this something that goes on like therapy for years, or is this something where you come in and implement something in a 3-month period? I mean, is there a goal set ahead of time? What should people expect?
Yes. Okay. So the cool thing about it is that it's very quick. And the reason is that the science of it is actually the opposite of a lot of coaching and therapy, which is all done kind of in the conscious. So if you identify a problem, you start hitting at it, right? You're trying to change it in your day to day. This process teaches us some new skills at a more subconscious level in a way that we can accept it quicker and resist it less, and then we apply it. Often, when I have people that are really motivated and receptive to it, the mere act of setting new goals and peeling away the layers and kind of getting at what's going on in their brain starts to shift them. And we're talking weeks. But most people, individuals, can be through this process in 2 months or less, and a team can go fairly quickly as well. The other thing about this that's different, again, than some other coaching models and even therapy, is that it's very sustainable. So think about when you're a little kid and you learn to ride a bike and memorize a poem, for example. One thing you can still do decades later, the other you've probably forgot. This process taps into the same part of the brain as you would use to learn a bike, so it's sustainable. You do not forget it, it's there. Once you have the new skill, the new way of thinking, it's like part of your DNA.
So is this process something you created? Is it something you licensed? Do other people do it? Other people practice it? Where does it come from?
So the science itself is a result of about a dozen years of brain science research on plasticity. And some of the general principles have been used for many years, for example, in the military, Olympic teams, that are trying to help athletes make differences in the way they're performing their sport. It's used in various therapeutic areas. For example, if somebody's had a stroke and now has to think left-sided versus right-sided. So the science is widely used. The process itself, as it relates to how we move people along in goal setting, was developed by a woman named Bria Schwartz-Hebron, the founder of Key Change Institute, who I worked for a while. And she has licensed me and given me the opportunity to utilize her process. So she's been using it for about 10 years.
Wow. So it's very unique and not spread all over the place. You're not going to find another Susan Vogel next door.
No, you will not.
Okay. That sounds fabulous. Well, we are delighted to have you in our circle of influence, and we invite people to find you and seek you out if they need help getting unstuck. So Susan, how would people find you?
Absolutely. So I have a website, sbvogel.com. That's S for Susan, B as in boy, V as in Victor. You can also find me on LinkedIn, where I have a lot of information. And my phone number is 203-520-4047.
Terrific. Thanks, Susan. Great to have you in our circle.
Thank you, Kathy.